You've heard it said that everyone has a novel in them, but how do you get it out of your head and onto the page? Over the next few minutes, we're going to look at some of the tricks behind putting your idea into words. The good news is, everyone can write a book. Finding your voice as a writer is just a matter of practice, and you already know that you love to write. But how do you go from a one-sentence idea to a fully formed novel? Well, every story is different, but there are some basic rules that every writer should know to keep their novel moving in the right direction. Best-selling author Jodi Picoult doesn't believe in writer's block. She says it's for writers with too much time on their hands. When her kids were small, she had to snatch her writing time wherever she could, so procrastination just wasn't an option. There's nothing more intimidating to a writer than a blank page, but as the old saying goes, you can't edit what's not there. So the first thing you have to do is just start writing. Of course, that's easier said than done sometimes, so if you're having trouble getting words on a page, there's no shortage of writing prompts that you can try. If you prefer something a little more structured, you can look on the internet for daily prompts from writers' websites and forums, or you can make your own DIY prompts from the world around you with a little bit of preparation. Invest in a decent hardback notebook that can survive in a back pocket or the bottom of a handbag, and make sure you have it with you whenever you leave the house. Note down anything and everything, from interesting street names to the scents around you, to the way the clouds look when it rains, anything that evokes any kind of response from you. If you like, you can divide it into themed sections, or you can run it as a stream of consciousness, whatever works best for you. Next time you're stuck, open your notebook at random and start writing about what you find there. There are also exercises you can try when you need a bit of inspiration, whether you're trying to get started or if you're pulled up short in the middle of a story. Characters are a great place to start. If you're halfway through and just got stalled, try stepping away from the story for a minute and writing a dialogue-only exchange between two of your characters. You don't have to specify where they've met or why, and their conversation definitely doesn't have to have any bearing on the story. But it's amazing the things you'll find out from about the people you're writing about if you just let them talk. If you have no idea who your characters are, then try this exercise. Write down 2 words that describe you. Now, write down 2 words that describe a close friend. Choose a name. That's your character. And those 4 words are your starting point for their personality. What 1 word would they use to describe themselves? What 1 word would their best friend use to describe them? How does their sister see them? How about their most recent ex-partner? How about their boss? Now, write an argument between your character and their sister, their ex, or their boss. See what you discover. And finally, if you're worried about staring at a blank page with no idea what to write, try this trick to get you started. On a computer or by hand, draw 3 grids, 7 rows and 3 columns. On the first grid, write a different job inside every square. On the second grid, you want a different event per square, maybe Christmas Eve, maybe a wedding, maybe a stormy night. And on the third, you want a series of different places. Now, cut up the grids so that you have 21 different squares of paper and put each of the grids in their own bowl or box or paper bag. Pull out 1 square from each. Now you have your character, your location and your setting. Start writing and see what happens. Some writers can't put pen to paper without knowing, in detail, exactly how their plot will unfold. Some writers like to start writing and just see where the story takes them. And some writers fall somewhere in between. But the only way to keep a plot moving is by creating compelling characters to drive your narrative. So, how do you build a personality from scratch and make it convincing? If you've tried the exercise above, you're already well on your way. For your characters to feel fully formed though, you need to know them well enough to understand what makes them tick. You should always know much more about your characters than your readers do. For your main characters, keep a running biography that you can add to as you get to know them better. You'll want to know their birthday at least, their age, if they have brothers and sisters, where they were born, what colour their hair is, how tall they are. Maybe you can write down their shoe size, their favourite breakfast cereal, the name of their first crush. Write it as bullet points or write it as a narrative, but make sure you know your character like you would know a close friend. Maybe 5% of the information in your character biography will appear in your novel, and that's how it should be. The point is not to overwhelm your reader with description, but to make sure that you understand the people that you're writing. And if you're writing science fiction, fantasy or historical fiction, put your locations as characters too. You need to be able to walk through them in your head if they're going to feel convincing. Finally, when it comes to writing dialogue, a good trick, at least in the beginning, is to read it out loud. If it sounds silly outside your head, it probably reads like that as well. But really, the most important thing to remember about writing is this: it's supposed to be fun. Know the rules, but don't be bound by them. Write the story that you want to write. Don't worry about whether or not anyone's going to read it. That part comes later. You write for yourself first and foremost, and you're the only person you need to please. The vast majority of novels stay locked away inside their authors' heads. You can't be the next J.K. Rowling unless you actually tell your story. The only thing you have to do is to start writing.